Chill.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to VFX and Chill. I am Hashi, and right over here is my good buddy Seth. For the moment, we are Michael-less, but let's all send our best wishes to Michael, who's dealing with some fun weather down there in the middle of the country.
Where?
Oh. Yeah, today we are here to talk about a movie, the third in a trilogy that has been spread out over many, many years. I think a trilogy.
Do we call it a trilogy?
It's a good point. I guess TRONology.
I mean, I really actually have no idea where it falls in terms of like what characters are connected and what's being used. So whatever, we'll call it whatever we want to call it.
TRON 3. Or, as they like to call it, TRON ARES.
Berries. TRON berries. It's the cereal that keeps on troning. I am pulling up the clips that I did not.
Excellent. But yeah, well, anyway, last week, this trailer for TRON dropped. And some fun folks online mentioned, we ought to cover this on the show. It looks like a lot of VFX opportunities. That was a total good word.
Yeah.
Let's watch a bit of this together while we see if the droned-in satellite phone helps connect Michael to the call.
There we go. That is really cool.
That's a cool cold open for a trailer.
And what else?
And it establishes right away they're doing something in this TRON that the other TRONs didn't TRON before, which is
red.
TRON in the real world. It's like pixels, but deadly serious in a way that I'm sure will cohesively come together.
And Gillian Anderson and Greta Lee? I'm forgetting Greta's last name.
It's cool is what it is.
Hell yeah!
It is all really cool. This is...
Arriving heroically, just like Jared Leto in this trailer, but more welcome, Michael Zalapsky.
It feels maybe, yeah. Yeah, contractually.
I don't want to.
But look at that. That's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Mike, see, that's what Michael's body just did. I just did. He was off camera. I hadn't pulled it up yet.
Hey, and Morbius is here too.
He really only looks like Morbius. That's my only thing with this trailer is that Jared Leto now only is Morbius. And
as long as he says it's Morbin time before he gets that suit on, I think we're good.
Do you think it'll be confusing or weird if he says it in this movie? I don't think so. I think it'll make more sense to us.
I think people would cheer it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they would cheer.
I mean, we've seen how the public reaction to the Minecraft movie is going.
Yeah.
Which sounds like it's just one of those that's fun for the audiences.
The critics clearly don't get it.
silly
dumb critics, the woke media. So I am loving this trailer and all the things.
It is a really cool trailer. Tron is a very cool world, and the original
should have been our
Tron established some of the first printed to celluloid computer generated graphics, which is pretty cool. So it's both a benchmark for visual effects. Used a ton of crazy keying technology, a bunch of weird filming techniques, mixed a little bit of computer into film, which
I like that you were just powering through it.
Thank you.
You were just powering through for us.
But in Tron, they've I think the plot, as Michael Pollack is hinting, they deleted the sun and are trying to get it back.
Oh, interesting. I love this shot.
That is a really cool shot. It's like, it feels like a Starship Troopers. That, like when the one bug bleeds on that character.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think that the thing that they're doing in this, and I will admit right up front, I have not seen either Tron movie. I have seen lots of coverage of the VFX in them. I worked on the
Aaron Rabinowitz just sat up. Wherever he is, he laid down so he could set up. Aaron Rabinowitz just felt some kind of pain in his body somewhere.
Yeah.
It was going to show up to the stream now. I have seen both. I don't remember anything from the first one. The first one I was the first exposed to on, I don't know if, did you experience these? Disney had these like, almost like highlight reel videos where they would have like 3 episodes of something and then in between would be a ton of promos for other Disney stuff. And
this sounds familiar.
It was like in the 80s, I think. And I just remember
before there was an internet. They're like, that's how you got to get that stuff out.
And there were these clips of Tron in it that there's no context, and it was scary and weird and dark and cool. And then I saw the movie, and I don't remember anything because it's kind of boring. But it's visually cool. The second movie has a killer score, and got Joseph Kosinski.
I did listen to the score a lot while I was working on the Blu-ray materials, but I still just never watched them.
There's a lot of like light ray stuff, which, I'd love to show the audience how easy it is to do, 3D. Where's the one? There's one specific one. I guess it's that. There's one where they like fly up and past us, isn't there?
I think so.
Maybe, yeah, that one.
There we go. Right there. Yeah, look at that.
So that's like
really, really high quality VFX. It's neat because the Tron world is, super, super slick to the max. It's like the only movie that could get away with just having a whole universe that is super, super slick. Yeah. This look. And it looks like they're crossing that over into the real world. They've figured out how to escape the video game. That's what it is, right?
Well, yes, the end of the movie, a character escapes. Spoiler alert for an older movie. But at the end of the movie, a main character is able to escape. A digital character is able to escape in the real world. And it's cool. And so I guess now here we are showing what it's like if the bad guys all came and encountered a bunch of other actors instead of the other ones. So a couple things.
Why take over the real world? What a pain.
It's not that great. Honestly, I think the Tron world's cooler, so you should have stayed there. So
now, is there a character called Tron?
Yeah, it's apparently not the world. Oh. It's apparently the name of the character, not the world. The world is the grid. Tron. Tron is not even Jeff Bridges' character.
Saying this, and then I saw like an article that was referring to Tron as a character, and I was like, no.
Yeah, Tron is Jeff Bridges' like buddy, I think.
Is it short for? Is his full name Electronic?
It's short for Martin Tron.
Martin Tron.
Yeah, and instead of calling him Marty, we called him Tron. So. Hashi, what shots? I know the answer to this, but I'm asking for the sake of a spectacle and display. What shots are you thinking of doing?
Well, I really enjoyed them cutting the cop car in half.
We always do.
But what shots do I want to do? That same one, I guess.
All cars
Look
are
at-
cut. No.
All-
All cars are
Or bifurcated.
broken.
Bifurcated. All cars are bifurcated.
There we go. I knew we'd get there. I knew we'd get there eventually.
Now,
It's kind of cool because it's like a super, stylized effect of just like slicing something in half like you would in a video game, but happening to a physical object is kind of cool.
Totally. I'm gonna go. I say
wait,
I'm
they
gonna
can turn on and off the light coming out from behind the motorcycle?
Let me see.
I thought it was.
Yes.
I thought it was permanently coming out the back of the motorcycle, so it was like a crazy, snake arcade game situation.
Well, that's what it is in the movie, but apparently you can turn it on and off.
Nice.
I say I'm gonna go for a simpler effect and actually try and recreate the titles. But I say simpler, and the thing is like here's my thing about displacement in general and like glitches. I like famously have tried to do like glitchy looking effects, and I feel like I always end up doing some overly complicated setup, and then I see someone like Darby or any of our friends, like their professional like project files for these kind of titles, and they're like 3 layers using like basic CC effects with like 2 keyframes, and my brain just can't think that way, and so I'm gonna attempt this as simply as I can. That's really the challenge here: is can I do this text, but also this text with?
It's a really cool title. Like
it's
the
really
little,
cool.
like kind of bloody looking distortion pattern looks pretty neat.
So like, can I do this? And how simply can I do it? So we're gonna find out.
Excellent. And Nick Smith says that hologram pixelated person being built is my love language.
It's really cool. I just don't know if we can do it.
All right. Let's see. We'll all share my screen here. So one of the things that I think is kind of cool in cinema is if you had. So just for example, I'm adding this platonic object, strictly platonic. I'm going to
nothing sexual between you and this object.
Nothing.
Platonic objects are my love language.
And I'm going to add a Voronoi fracture object right here. And do I need to, I think I didn't do my, let me see if I can increase my screen size here.
Oh, keep that.
I know that people have complained in the past. Here we go. Is it still sharing?
Something is happening.
I see a mouse.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So hopefully this is a little bit easier for people to see. A Voronoi fracture object is one of my favorite things because you can drag the platonic into it, and look at this. See these little colorful fragments? They're a visualization of this object being split into pieces. So one cool thing is if you had a plane below them with a collider tag on it, you could go to the Voronoi fracture object and say simulation tags rigid and press play, and look at that. Everything breaking up into a whole bunch of pieces, which is really cool. But say you wanted like split this in half with a laser beam. So
I want to split this in half with a laser beam.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So one of the reason why the Voronoi fracture looks like this is because it has, whoops, I swore I closed my Teams. All right, here we go. One of the ways that the Voronoi fracture is doing this is it has a source for why it creates these fragments, and that is right here. If you click on the object, sources tab, and it's just using a point generator, and it just randomly generates points around here. You can distribute them uniformly. You can use like an inverse normal, which kind of means like there are more pieces on that side, or normal, which is going the opposite direction. It's a little bit weird for this platonic. But you can break it up a couple of different ways like this. But you also don't have to use a point generator as a source. You could actually delete that. Now you'll see it's just one single object. And now I'm going to add a matrix object right here. This matrix has a lot of pieces, but let's make it just have 2 in the X and, whoops, I guess 1 in Z. I wanted to say 0. So it's just this little matrix here. You don't even need to look at it. I can turn it off there. But if I go to the fracture object in my sources, I can drag that matrix down to here. And, oh, maybe I do need to turn it on. Oh. And getting a weird little display-ish error, but let me go to my Ronai object and say object, optimize and close holes. Oh God, no, there it is. And press play. Chink. Yeah. Fruit Ninja style.
Now Hashi's using Fruit Ninja style. Hashi's using a matrix object for this, but keep in mind, it doesn't have to be point-based objects. You could use a plane object or really any geometry to drive your Voronoi fracture. You could use fields, like you could do insane things with Voronoi fracture sources.
That's a good point. Let's try that. If we said instead of that matrix, what if we had this plane? So what it's doing is it's using the plane's points as a source. So if I go to the plane and I turn down the number of points down to that, let me go back to frame 0. Let's see what's happening. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so satisfying.
Isn't that neat? It really is. Like, that's like what you want to see when you're like how you imagine you are as a chef in the kitchen.
And this is all kind of like interactive. So like, look at this. Like you could put the split in a different direction. You could put it at a different angle. So a lot of cool things you could do like this. And then on top of that, the Voronoi fracture, you could also still add an additional distribution source. So they split at those specific points and then fall apart more. You can add geometry glue like this, which
the geometry glue is so great.
Let's see, let me use cluster mode. And then you can have these kind of like sections break off of it. You can change the cluster amount. You can change the seed and tolerance. There are a lot of different ways you can break something up. So I think that's what I'm going to use as or this was my initial idea where I was going to split a car in half. Seth, how are you going to start out today?
So I have, let me finish labeling this. I have a text in... I have text in a comp, and what I've done is I've pre-comped this glitch. I've pre-comped it into here, so I can change it in this pre-comp if I like. But I'm going to be duplicating this and using it a couple times. So let me just pull in the reference. A couple things that I noticed because. You know, Hashi, you and I are different. I like to look at the reference. You like to look at it once and then never again.
I like to use the reference merely as inspiration for my VFX journey.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're more talented and skilled than I am, so I have to literally look at. So there's a couple things going on here. One, I'm looking for like how many different fractal like maps am I going to need to use here. And one, I see these tiny squares that are kind of, that kind of start in the middle and come out toward to the edges. And then I see not a displacement, but I see a grid layer that pops up in a flicker here and there. And then I see them kind of coming on with another. So there's a couple that come on, like this part of the C and this T that come on and stay on, with the exception of a couple flickers. And then these other blocks come on and flash around a bit. So to me, that's so far 3 fractal maps. That's one that's the tiny squares, one that's I'll call them the fading squares. Those are the ones that are basically fading the whole text on and don't really flicker except for maybe once or twice to show reveal that grid. And then a third fractal map that is the flickery big blocks. So I'd say small blocks, big blocks fade, and big blocks flicker. Those are the 3 that I can see that I'll need to make. So what I might do is instead of applying them to the title layers, I might just create some solids here.
Do yourself a solid.
Let's do this first solid. We'll call this small blocks. We'll apply a fractal noise. I am going to set the noise type to block. And then the sub settings, I'll go in here and set sub influence to 0. And that simplifies my blocks to be like that. So now I need to, let's see, how big are those small blocks? Really pretty small. Maybe bring them down.
It's one of those things where, like you have to, over streaming is difficult to communicate, the fine grid pixelated details.
For sure.
But we'll get there.
But like these tiny squares are what I'm going for. And I think that's a decent. Maybe I'll do like a little smaller. So let's say those are my small blocks. And those are going to be animating. So like I believe in here these animate over time. Yeah, very subtly, but they are. So why don't I, although, damn it, Hosh, I'm looking at it now. You might have been right. Oh man, you were right, dude.
Is this a card dance situation?
So before the show, we were talking about whether this is
card wipe,
fractal maps, or if it's a card. This is absolutely a card dance. Okay, that actually simplifies things. So I don't need the small blocks.
You can drive a card wipe with a like a fractal.
You can but why do you need to? You can drive
October.
it with. You just need it with a ramp. You don't need it with a fractal. So like,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Let's do a new solid. Let's do a ramp. I'm going to use the stock ramp, even though I love Universe's gradient ramp, but I don't need it at the moment. Set that middle one to 540 and set those guys to 0, the end of ramp to 0. I'll swap the colors because I just like a ramp to look like that. Now on my text, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to keep this base one down here. And on this one, I'm going to call this the text cards.
Nice.
And then card wipe. And back layer, I'm going to say no, turn off. Gradient layer, I'm going to set it to my ramp and say effects and masks. And so that's not... Oh, I need to say flip order or gradient. So now they'll flip out. So I just need to now set my rows, columns follow rows, and then, rows, a whole bunch. We're going to need like...
So many rows.
I'm going to say flip axis. Let's do random. That's more like what it looks like.
There we go.
And get it down to...
You might need to
timing randomness.
Set your just add a quick expression to your column. Well, actually, wait. Is it trying to do square?
It's doing square. They're just
nice.
Without the random.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
So I wonder if I.
Oh, look at that.
So if I turn the other one on. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close to what that looks like.
That's even the same seed, I think.
So let's see. Let's look at this. I'm going to say transition complete. It's 0. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Can I flip it? Flip direction negative, right?
There you go.
There we go. So let's... I feel like... There we go. This is what I want.
Yeah.
So the transition width is turned way down. I'm going to keyframe, set it at 100 at the beginning. I'm going to turn my reference back on and see kind of how long it takes that to get all the way on to like right about there. And I'll just go up here and set it to 0. So turning off my reference, see that it's now on. And so this is how it will open up. That feels really fast. The other one feels really slow, but we will take this one at a time. Timing randomness, maybe if I turn that up, Yeah.
Man, that's pretty good.
So then I need this stuff to turn on with, now I can do a displacement. And I can do a fractal map. So let's do a new solid. Let's do big blocks. What if this all turned out to be card wipe? But it's not, I know for a fact. Fractal noise, once again, set it to block, the noise type to block. Go down to subsettings, set that to 0. And then I'm going to turn the scale up really big. And there's a couple things I'm going to do here. I'm going to apply a levels, and I'm going to give this thing the most insane amount of contrast I possibly can, so that when I turn down the brightness and turn it up on here, I want it to where it's basically just turning on. Like there's barely even a fade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like...
I can even duplicate that levels, and now it's like, oh, now it's all just blinking on. That's what I want right there.
Nice. You could also use the effect min-max, which is a kind of cool thing.
Oh, interesting. Why don't I do that?
Right here, you can say min-max, and then have it be... let's see, what is the... I can't quite read your screen.
Oh, sorry. It's set at maximum, or I can say minimum, maximum, minimum, then maximum.
Do maximum, and then change the channel to either luminance or alpha. Oh, weird. Never mind. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of this for alpha channels. So
okay.
you can get
well,
like
I mean, I could unmult it and use it for that, but...
Yeah, never mind.
I'm going to go ahead and just do this, so now it should barely be a fade. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to go set the brightness at the beginning to wherever it becomes completely dark. And let's look at the reference again.
But why?
By this point, everything is on, so I'll just turn this back on and turn it all the way up until everything is on. So now it all comes on like that. So let's just see if I've got this, I'm going to duplicate the title card again. I'm going to call this one text, big blocks. I'm going to say set matte, and we're going to set it to this big blocks layer, effects and masks, and say luminance. So now it comes on like that. Now, obviously, this is not as fragmented as I want it to be. So one thing I can do is go to the offset turbulence in the displacement, bring it up here, and maybe even bring my scale down a little more. So now I get some more random
that's cool.
here parts. Maybe even scale it down even more. So there we go. So that stuff comes on. Now I need another one. I'm going to duplicate the big blocks layer and call it big blocks flicker. And this one is going to get I'm going to animate the evolution. I'm going to alt click on the stopwatch, and down here it opens up where I can type an expression, and I'm going to say, well, first I have to do this. First I have to keyframe the evolution. Go to the first frame, hit the keyframe, and then go wherever I want, and I'm going to say one whole rotation. So now actually maybe do 2. So now it's animating that evolution, and I'm going to then alt click on the evolution and type loop out, and then in the parentheses with quotations offset. And what that does is that will keep this evolution rotating or constantly moving, so it's constantly evolving and doing this blinky business.
You could also do this and just run it and point your camera phone at it until you get a QR code and just click on whatever it is. It's like Russian roulette. Like
absolutely.
You know.
So now I'm going to duplicate the big text big blocks. I'm going to call that text big blocks flicker. And I'm going to set matte up here to the big blocks flicker. And now we're going to see how this looks. So I think I need to one, bring down the levels on, let me turn off the big blocks. So now
Spider-Man turn off the big blocks.
I've been with the big blocks. You've had so many of them.
So this offset, the reason I put this offset in here instead of just keyframing it from start to finish is that now I can change the speed easily by just moving this keyframe down here, and now it's going to flicker faster.
Nice.
And keep moving. So I want to be able to do this. Yeah, that right there, honestly, is like, that's a great. There we go. That's great. That's combined with the big blocks, the main big blocks, and then, so that's big blocks and big blocks flicker. Now let's see what happens if I bring the cards into this.
Agile says, wouldn't a time times some value expression do that for you?
Yeah, but then I have to keep going in and changing the value if I want to change the speed. And I like being able just to like crank this. You could also do time times a slider, but
yes,
you know, yeah, but then I have to, but that's actually, yeah, I could do that, but also I could just do this.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
There really are. Depends. Like I think a lot of the time, like building something like this is a lot of fun with the keyframes, and then you eventually put it all together and decide what you want to be, controlled by expression controls or by time controls, and so they're all kind of globally done. But right now, you're just doing jazz. You're doing glitchy jazz,
digital jazz. Now, one thing I noticed though is that in the reference, it kind of like it starts in the middle, then comes out, so it's kind of doing like a vignette reveal. And right now, like an iris or vignette, right now I've got these edges that are just like popping up immediately. So I wonder if I want to do this. Where do I want to apply that?
Oh, interesting.
Do I want to do it to the map, or do I want to do it to the text layers?
Patrick, your question is a good one. How is the loop expression different from just rotating the evolution to a big number all the way to the end of the comp?
I explained that already.
You did? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I said so. The reason to evolution when it comes to After Effects. If you add,
Seth,
I can answer it again.
Check Slack real quick. Akmal Basil says, never question a master, and I disagree with that. I think asking a question of a master is a great way for you to learn. There's a chance that the master hasn't quite thought of what you're thinking of, but more likely they have, and it's a chance for you to learn a different way or a reason why to do something. There are, in this industry of both motion graphics and visual effects, and in software as complicated as After Effects, Cinema 4D, and whatnot, there's often many ways to do something, and sometimes ways are equally fine, but other times there's a reason to pick one over another. And sometimes questioning a master is a really good way to learn, because they can explain their reasoning for using it a certain way.
Also,
Michael Pollack says, never keyframe when an expression will do.
Now, Michael, I saw your message. I'm working on that right now. Do we need to answer the question or no?
No.
Okay.
You already answered it.
Wait. Hang on a second. So you need you need me to add that new one? Okay, hold on one second. I will do that. Hashi,
one of them is back to me if you'd like, and I can show you something else. So I figure we should move on to the actual shot. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, this model isn't cooperating with the Voronoi, and I think it's because it's not really connected. It's a whole bunch of different objects. So the Voronoi fracture is never treating it as one object. I've tried connecting it. I've tried adding it to a correction tag and a bunch of other stuff. And when all of that stuff doesn't work, I'm actually just going to go to point mode on this low poly car and go over to my mesh tools and do a line cut. So check this out. I can just go from right here in this top view. I'm going to uncheck visible only. And I'm going to say split mode. And I'm going to click on this point right there. I'm going to go all the way down here to this front point and click there. And press enter to commit that, I think. Or maybe escape. It might have happened automatically already. Oh, it's thinking. All right, so what it's doing is I unchecked visible only, so it's going to slice right through all of this and add points in the middle, even for some of the polygons that don't have them right now. I believe so. So I stalled it. What did I do?
While you're looking at that, there was a question earlier. Shadowlift is asking, is there going to be a ChatGPT layer for Cinema 4D in 3 years? I mean, I'm sure there are ways. I'm sure there are ways that we could use artificial intelligence in various ways to augment our software. How would you see that working? Just out of curiosity, like what features would you like to see? I know Chad Ashley or Ryan Summers, one of those two. It's hard to tell them apart. Has a trained AI thing that you can ask it questions, and they've fed it the recent Redshift and Cinema 4D help docs. So you can ask it questions about the software. Like it's specifically trained with those, so you don't get lying internet things. So those are out there already. What else would you want to see that help in the software? Question. Oh, and Ahmal Basil is asking, what's that script that Seth is using After Effects? And Julia Bloom also says, what does the Whirly Scripts plugin do?
Judy Bloom?
Julia Bloom. Sorry.
Oh.
That's Seth's just workflow booster thing. All the scripts that he's made himself to do things are all tucked in there. It's just doing scripts and things that you can do natively in After Effects for the most part. Just
doing scripts
helps him get it done
things.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So by the way, I figured out I'm just gonna literally do a mask for this.
Yes.
The beginning. So I'm just gonna feather the hell out of it and keyframe its expansion from here to here, and so now it will do that, and hopefully shouldn't be. Yeah. There we go. I might even copy and paste it onto the other layer. So then, there we go. So now I get to keep having a little more time with these cards over on the sides. So this has actually gone much faster than any of my prep did. And I guess it's because I spent all of prep figuring out how the hell to do all of this. I've got more stuff to do, but Hashi, where are you at?
I am finding out if... by that, oh, there it is, sorry. So, yeah, we use the knife tool to click all the way to there, to click all the way to there. And what that will have done is it'll take this model and make it so if I wanted to, I can select like all the polygons on one side and make that into something because, actually, I don't know why it's not selecting these. It's a weird tolerance thing. Let's see. So I grabbed this car. I think this is from TRON.
It looks very much like a car from TRON. It certainly looks like it's going to be something that's going to be fun to cut apart anyway.
That sounds good. I'm going to cut this TRON car in half. It's named something like that. Let's
Cybertron.
See. Cybertron.
That's
Cybertronica.
Definitely Cybertron.
Why isn't my... Oh, does it need to be a tolerance selection? There it is. I didn't have tolerance selection checked. There we go. So now I have this half of the car and that half of the car, and I'm just going to right click and say split, which I think the knife tool, since I used the split function, should allow me to be able to just go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Ooh, I'm even getting a digital glitch thing because there are some weird points selected. Let's see where those points came from, actually. Let me undo my split real quick. And let's go back to polygon mode. Let's go to this view. I don't know why my tolerance selection with visibility isn't just grabbing everything. Maybe it's, I don't know. It's weird.
By the way, I think you should make sure to show people there's a happy accident you had before the show that I thought was extremely cool at some point with the connect object, I think, or I'm trying to figure out. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I could even show that right now. Oh, whatever. Actually, I'll stick with this for a second.
Okay.
For some reason, I just want to make sure I switch to points mode. It's somehow missing points because of my zoom level, but that doesn't make sense to me. So, because it's on the tolerant selection, but it's grabbing extra things. Why? Why? Silliness. Okay. Oh, that's bugging me. Why? No.
Just use your mouse instead of the lasso selection. Just go to the regular mousey selection and wipe it off.
Oops.
With control, yeah. I'll get rid of it.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Let's make sure everything over here is selected. That's dumb. That's all right. Let's split for UP. And then we'll grab this side. We'll say, all right, I feel like that works. So now, if I switch to this scene here, I can go up like this.
You can go into model mode instead of polygon mode too at this point.
Yeah, so now we've got one half and another half. The next thing I'm going to do is, just for funsies, let's go ahead and apply a simulation tag, make these rigid bodies. I've got a plane under it that is a collider. And if I press play, they may fly apart. There we go. Yeah.
Look at that. Already looking cool. And Pine Arts, yes, that apology, that car is insane. Hashi did not model that himself.
I'm sorry. I should have thrown it into a subdivision or something.
No, that would not have helped.
The basis for this effect is just going to be something like this. Boom. We can influence that a couple of different ways.
Yes.
I want a couple of things to exist along with this split happening. So I'm going to go to solo mode for a second. And it looks like there are still some stragglers, which are right over here and here. I'm just going to delete them at this point. They're probably not necessary. Sorry to not give much consideration to the engineering of this vehicle.
Why start now?
Boom. All right. So let's go to our point mode. And then I'm going to go to a straight front view like this. And I'm going to use I guess I'll try brush selection again. And going right along that. I'm going to select all these.
Hashi, you do have visible only selected. You do not want that for what you're doing.
Oh. But why doesn't the rectangle non-visible only just it should do this, right?
Look, listen, it should, yes. You should be fine. You should be perfectly good now.
I'm just nervous because it didn't before, and it was making me mad. All right. So I've selected all of these points right here on the side. I'm going to double click on the actually, I meant to select edges, huh?
If you control, no, hang on, Hashi, go back to your point selection.
Mm-hmm.
If you I think control click, it changes your selection into like that. Just like that. You can convert point, edge, and polygon selections into each other by control clicking on the different modes when you've got a selection made.
Excellent. I'm just quickly letting my wife know, welcome home. She had an awesome showcase today at her woodworking.
Hooray.
Awesome.
While you congratulate your wife, I'm going to tell Timothy Beckman, who mentions that not Cinema 4D related, but there are really good B-roll search plugins for Adobe Premiere that use AI. Yes, but no longer needed as of 2 weeks ago. I know with Red Giant and Cinema 4D and Redshift and ZBrush announcing new things, it could be hard, and After Effects announcing new versions, it could have been hard to miss. But that same Wednesday, Premiere also introduced new stuff, including AI search feature for your B-roll footage inside Premiere Pro. So if you not just necessarily B-roll, any footage, so you can now search using AI to find the clip you're looking for in Premiere Pro natively.
Cool.
Wild. Oopsie. Not shift control.
I'm gonna drop in the next layer of stuff. So
do it.
I got this, base text layer down here that's untouched. I'm going to duplicate it again. I'm going to call this one text the grid. Wish I could say it with as much Jeff Bridges-iness as Jeff Bridges does. But so on this, I'm going to apply a grid effect. And first thing I'm going to do is change the size from, I'm going to change it to width slider. I'm going to
always what I do first thing every time.
Yeah. I'm going to set the border to 2, and I'm going to turn this down, size down. Maybe I'll set the border to 1 even. And size it down to like, maybe let's say 7, just so to make sure it reads. And then I'm going to blending mode. I'm going to say stencil
Being able
alpha.
to read is important.
What's that?
I said being able to read is important.
It is important. So I'm going to, let's see, I set the blending mode to stencil alpha. So now I've got this glitch here. And if we're looking at the reference, this really only flickers on a couple times, like real quick once, when everything kind of shuts off real quick, and it shows that. So I am thinking I'm going to accomplish this a really weird way. I'm going to apply a new solid. I'm going to call this flicker. And on this, I'm going to attach, I'm going to apply a strobe light effect. I'm going to make sure that this layer, so go to solid settings, I'm going to make sure that it is a black layer. And then on strobe light, I'm going to say strobe duration. Let's do like 0.1, strobe period, 0.2. So now it's going to like be that stroby. And maybe I'll do random strobe probability to 50. And then let me find just one part
Flash
where...
burning, everybody.
Yeah, sorry guys. So right here, I'm then going to do blend with original. I'm going to start setting some keyframes. So on this layer before it flashes right here, I'm going to say, 0, and then go 1 frame forward, say 100. I just want... Oh, oops, that's not how blend with original works. This first blend with original set to 0, I want for me to actually see the effect. So 100, then it turns to 0, and we get a few flashes. Oh wow, is this just on for a minute? And then I really could just keyframe this. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why don't I just keyframe it? That's easier. Layer. So I just kind of looking for as much randomness as I can find. But so if let me look at
sometimes the randomness is inside of us all along.
The thing is, I know, like, it's like, I doubt these things were keyframed. Like, there's got to be a lot of like expressions happening here, but whatever. So it looks like it comes on for 1, 2, 3, 3 frames. So let's keyframe this flicker to be off, on, 1, 2, 3, and actually I should go in, set it to 0, but then select all my keyframes, right click them, and say keyframe interpolation, hold. So now there's nothing happening in between the frames. The second that we hit the keyframe, it changes to the value that it's set to.
Hold keyframes, very handy. I use them frequently for particle counts in particular.
I might do like a 50 and then like one little quick flicker. Let me make sure that that's fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say text grid. We'll do that in a second. First, I'm going to do text big blocks. My reference is still on. So the big blocks filter, let's start with that one. Say set matte. And we're going to say flicker. And we just need to be the alpha channel, but we're going to say invert matte. I think. Yes, we are. Except, why is it showing up? Oh. Oh, it doesn't read the opacity layer. Okay. I'm a little all over the place. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm going to do is here's the trick. Apply a transform effect. It's for some reason set matte doesn't read the opacity settings on a layer, but you can apply a transform effect which has its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say it also won't read the position, scale, rotation of it either.
So if you want to do stuff like that,
don't read other layers' transform properties.
Yeah, so you can apply the transform effect, and that allows you to copy these opacity values and apply them to the opacity in the transform effect, and then delete these and make sure the whole layer is back to 100. So now we still get that flickering. So I'm going to go back to...
Yeah, I've had people ask, why is there a transform effect when you could just apply transforms? This is why. You get transformation in the layer stack. It's the effect stack instead of just on the individual layers. Very useful.
So I'm going to go back here, apply set matte to the big blocks flicker. I'm going to say use the flicker layer and alpha channel and invert matte. And then...
Effects and masks.
Thank you, buddy. Effects and masks. And then... apply... Oh, so you don't want to copy and paste. Like, I have set mattes on all these. I don't want to copy and paste one set matte and just blindly paste it to this other layer. It's going to replace that set matte. So trick here is I can duplicate it and then hit paste, and then it'll only replace that new one with the new values that I'm pasting to it. So ideally now, let me also do it to the grid, but uncheck invert matte. So now it should...
Oh, that looks really good.
Oh, I guess I need to apply it to the cards too, although I don't really want to fully apply it to the cards, but why not? Let's apply it to the cards. So now... Yeah, I'll have to figure this out, but... I mean, it does work.
Why don't you tool with that, and I can
Here we go.
show some more.
It does work.
Thing.
It flicks. So now we have it flickering to the that grid for just one.
That looks really good.
Now there's one other effect, two other effects to apply. Hashi, let's go to you and we'll come back to me.
Excellent. All right. So sorry, I was having some trouble earlier, but what I've done is I selected all the points on the side, control-clicked them into an edge selection, and then went select, store selection. And you'll see that it's stored the selection as a little edge selection tag. These are nice to do along the way because then you can use them to help drive vertex maps. You can do lots of other things. The specific thing that I want to do is I'm actually going to use a fun tool, which is if I select them just like that, I'll open up my commander and I'll type in edge to spline, which is a cool effect. So I'll double click that and you'll see that now parented to my object is a spline that is just that side there, which is pretty cool. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Let's double click on that. Let me go to frame 0 just in case there's anything wrong here. And we'll say also edge to spline on that. Now we've got a spline here. So we'll call this, let's see. How should we name these left and right? Should it be from the camera's point of view or
always from the character or object's point of view, because you never know where your camera angle is going to be. So naming things left or right screen space wise won't make sense if a client or director or whoever says, you know what, I want the shot from behind. Then you've all screwed yourself. The right and left should always be from the object's right or left. Always.
I've never heard that before.
Car left. Spline. R. Spline. Look at me naming things.
I'm very proud of you.
Incorrectly, but they're at least named. And I'm going to even save. Check that out. So I've added a rigid body tag to both of these. There's a collider tag on the ground. I've added some turbulence just for fun, and I've also added an attractor object with a negative strength, kind of like me here.
Yeah.
And now let's watch this. Let's try play.
Boom.
That's
it's so good.
That car in the trailer, right? Something like that.
Nice.
Boom.
Oh, it looks so. That's so good.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a cheating. I'm going to animate the road passing under this as opposed to trying to recreate all the physics here. But I have a lot of the cool components that I need right now. I like that simulation. So one thing I could do is bake the simulation here like this. And I can just say cache, and we'll say cache these objects. I mean, it's not a complex simulation, but it's kind of neat. The turbulence is pushing them around. So now I've got that. That's baked. That'll work very, very quickly each time. But now that I have all this stuff together, this is actually only a couple of Redshift materials. Let's see if this breaks anything. If I switch over into Redshift, here we go. I've turned that on. Now I have this one dome light in here that is actually like basically an animated, it's like a 360 map of driving through a city at night, which is pretty cool to have. So that is sort of reflecting in the car, but it doesn't provide a lot of top light because it's just dark up there. So I've actually added a second dome light, which let me make it visible. A lot of let's see. A lot of things are now available in this details tab right here, where you can say camera contribution. Let me turn off the city 360 light, and you can see that what I've done with the this other ground plane is I've just put it 90 degrees on its side, so it's laying like that. And now my thinking is that if I have a lighting map like that, I'm soloing it right now. Let's go to the object itself. I've turned the exposure down, but the intensity up. And now if I take this dome and grab the rotation, look at this. You get a little bit of moving through the city.
Look at that.
And so then you hide its camera contribution by going to the details, turning that down like this. And then you go to the city
it's like
object.
One of these dumb things they do in Hollywood where it's like some intern is like moving brooms past a light or something.
This is basically, this version of that.
It's like dumb, but it works so perfectly.
Yeah,
that you're
that's really smart.
I could have gone to the effort to clone a bunch of freaking street lamps, but no, I'm just going to rotate a light, and it just works.
Well, here's the thing is, Hashi, it's so brilliant because I would have done some stupid mirroring thing where I am rotating it 90, rotating it on the y-axis, but then mirroring one side, so it's going past. But you're just no, tilt it on the side and just spin it.
It's good. And then if it you didn't like the way it reflected for real, you can just fake it. So the next thing I'm going to do with Redshift mode enabled is one of my very favorite things, which is let's go a few frames into this. Pause. All right, so let's go to here. Now we've got the car split in half, which is pretty cool. And we have these splines here, as you'll recall. I'm going to create a new Redshift material over here. Without even really looking, I'm just going to kind of guess. It's kind of, I'll make the base color kind of a reddish color. And then I'll go down to the emission right here and also make that red leaning orange. And then turn the weight up until it's like that. And in fact, I can turn down the reflection.
You're perfectly on time here because Hamel was asking, is there no visible seam running through the car? There's about to be. Speaking of the references, someone was asking, and I forget who was asking where. Someone was saying, hey, it seems like they seem to think that the electrical system on the car will keep, some night says they seem to think half the electrical system would keep working once the car is split, because in the reference the headlights are still on when the car gets split in half.
In the reference I think half of the lights stay on and half don't, like the half of the battery stay on.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is actually a cool detail.
Yeah.
So let's do this. So I've got this cool material. Let's call this the glowing edge material. And then I have these cool splines. I could drag the material to the spline, but it's not going to do anything unless I go to the spline and add a render Redshift object tag to it. And under
It
this,
will automatically recognize it's on a spline.
there's a tab called Curve right here now. And I can change the mode to hair strands, cones, strips. I'm going to try strips, actually. I'll turn that there, and I'll copy that to both tags. And now, let's see, go to select both tags, and then I'm going to say thickness. Let's make it more. Yes. This is what I like.
There it is.
So now we've got, if I turn up the thickness to right around here, look at this. This emissive, cool, sliced in half material. This is all
It looks
frameable.
so good.
It's really cool. And then, you could obviously do stuff like add some Maxon noise to it. And for this, it could be, let's do two colors. Let's do yellow and that. Let's go to the input, change the overall scale to pretty small. Let's try 5. And then plug that into the, I want my emission color to have this available. Let's see, emission. Actually, no, I want the emission weight to be affected by this matte. So let me put this back over to black and white. Just a noise pattern. And then we'll plug it into the, I need to enable it. Emission. I want the weight to be affected by it. So I'm going to click on this little dot right here, which adds a little node right there. You can connect.
This is a good tip from Hashi. You don't have to do that. Also Hashi, you can't connect a color to the emission weight. You don't have to do this control click business to make the node show up. You can just drag the node port from one node onto the other one's main part, and it'll pop up a list of all the possible options. But if you already know the option you want, it's much easier just to grab that. And yes, Hashi can't do that.
Oh, you need to convert it with a ramp or something?
No, you can't do that. There's not a really good way to do that.
I guess maybe before what I must have done was mapped to the color.
Yes.
So my instinct was, right, there we go. So here's the noise on this thing. You can see that I actually want the scale much smaller, or maybe I went too small. Whatever. I'm trying to make it cooler, but I actually like the way it looks here. And then, Seth, you're welcome to take it back from me anytime, but I can keep going.
Oh, hang on. One thing I was going to say, Hashi, is you could make that an incandescent material instead of a standard material and use that noise to drive the temperature. Just an interesting thought. Don't do it. I'm not saying you should do it now. I'm just saying it's an interesting thought for someone in the future that you can drive the temperature of the light being caused by the so you get like red, orange, white, hot. Like it's options. Anyway, carry on, Hashi. Just go back to doing what you're doing. I just wanted to point it out as an option for someone in the future.
And like I said, Seth, take it over if you want at any point.
So kind of really 1.5 last little things. Well, not 1.5, a couple little last things to do. The main thing is there's this scan line thing happening that's not, it's really, I wouldn't call it a scan line. It's like this scrolling bar, like scrolling bars that are happening.
Oh, that reminds me of that. What's interference? It's not interference in Red Giant Universe's analog. That's got those interference bars that go down.
Yeah. So like, I could drop holomatrix on these, but I think that'd be overkill. I think that a fun way to do this here would be I'm going to create a solid, but I'm going to make sure that it is gray. So setting the brightness right here to 50, and now it's a gray solid. I'm going to call it bars. And then I'm going to apply the checkerboard effect. And I am going to say blending mode normal. So now it's on top of the gray. And width and height sliders, both. I want to set the width to be the 1920, which is how wide the comp is. But look, there's a big line right down the middle. That's fine. I'll just set the anchor to 0. And now I've got these horizontal lines. I'm going to set the height to something that feels about right, maybe something like that. And then I can always adjust it. And then I'm going to go and on the anchor, I'm going to keyframe the anchor on the first keyframe. Then I'm going to go to like maybe 1 second in and scroll it down a bit. And then alt click or right click the stopwatch right there and type loop out, and then in the parentheses in quotations offset. So now it keeps scrolling beyond where I had it, and I'm going to turn that off, and this will be fun. So I'm going to first we'll apply it to the big blocks here. I'm going to apply, yes, another set matte, and we're going to select bars, say effects and masks, and luminance. So now I can see that is moving way too fast. So I'm just going to drag that keyframe out a bit. Maybe still too much. There we go. So now I'm just going to go through and apply that set matte to everything. So let's go to big blocks flicker. Let's make sure that I duplicate the set matte and then paste it so it doesn't overwrite one of my previous ones. I'll even apply it to the grid. So I'll duplicate that set matte and oh, I did it twice, didn't I? Duplicate and paste. And even to my cards. Duplicate and paste. And now let's see how this looks. So it all comes on and it's got this really nice moving bar. That makes it all feel. Now, what it needs now is love, love, love. Why did I say that it needs flickering overall? Just like an overall flicker to it. And for that, a couple things I can do. I am actually going to wonder if I can just apply a strobe effect to the bar since they're all using this effect. If
Strobe the bar.
Set the color to black, set it to, strobe duration to 0.1, strobe period to 0.2, random strobe probability to like 75. Let's go to a frame where it's on. Where is it? There we go. And just turn blend with original to like 90 or 95. So then it's like, the idea is that it's a subtle flicker. It's not, in your face. And so if I turn that off now, everything should have a subtle flicker to it.
Beauteous.
And then next we're going to do our colorization and add a little bit of scale to it. I mean, really, honestly, what I could do for that is just apply an adjustment layer. Let me make sure that I have a black background. Just always safe. Oh, black background. And I'm going to name a background. And then this adjustment layer, I'm going to apply a tint effect. And I'm going to map the white to red. And
look at that.
There. And I think if I do another adjustment layer, I call it scale. I apply transform. I go to the first frame, keyframe the scale, go to the last frame and say maybe 110. That might be too much. We'll see. No, that feels good. There we go. And I think it has a little bit of glow. So, if I wanted to, I can do optical glow, which is my favorite one.
Such a beautiful glow.
It really is. It's so good.
Optical glow. And too much right up front. My highlights only. Maybe I'll do this below the tint effect. Say highlights only. Let's do 10, 50. Interesting. Oh, it's all on right there. Let's see. And I'll turn it down to like 1 or 2.
Yeah, the size higher.
Size I'll do to like 200. ish. That's back
There
down
we
to
go.
1. And it's very subtle, but it's there. And maybe even a little bit of radiate, because just to add a little chaos to it.
If there is alpha, put a solid composite black first before the glow, by the way.
Guy's getting a workout this episode.
No, you missed it, pal. I
really
put there's a black background at the bottom.
Okay, gotcha. I did miss it.
So yeah, there we go.
My main computer that I usually do all the chat stuff on has been having some lovely issues lately. It's probably dying.
Oh, fun.
Just rebooted mid-show.
So there we go. We did that. Now, next, I'm gonna try and do this.
Oh yes.
And this I
That
might I did right before the show. I may just break it down because it's kind of a mess. But who knows? We'll see.
That right there, good. That bit right there.
That's so cool.
I can kind of walk through how to do that. All right, Hash, your turn.
Nice. Michael, I took your advice and created an incandescent texture, which is literally just this color, and replaced these with it, which is kind of fun. So now I have this really nice, look at this. If I go to the texture itself, you can adjust the temperature and the intensity of it. And so you can turn up this material to like super reflect in the road and stuff. Pretty crazy. I'm going to set that at like level 2.
JP Torres is asking, what's the reality of accomplishing the same effect within Cinema 4D when you're using a high-quality vehicle model? I mean, I'd say it'd be about the same. You'd split your model. I mean, you have to split your model in half anyway. It's not hard to get a selection of those outside lines. I'd say you'd use pretty much the same techniques. It would just take a little longer to do the commands because it's a higher poly model.
In fact, if you were curious, I before the show did do this effect with a high poly model over here of a cop car. So
kicks.
So this is where I'm headed with this.
Kid tested, mother approved.
Yeah, so here's a high poly split up nicely like that. Oh, I'm moving my RS camera. I shouldn't be. But yeah, same deal pretty much.
Don't save this file, Hashi.
I close that. Well, let's go back to this, and really quickly, just let me do this, which is fun. From right here, I can go to maybe my first frame here. I'm going to select this spline, and I'm going to go to Simulate Emitters Spline Emitter. And then on that, I'm going to go to its emission properties, and I'm going to say Shot Mode. And let's do count. Let's do like, I don't know, 5,000. Let's see what that looks like. I'm also going to duplicate this spline emitter right here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go down to the to the properties, and just for visual, just for the viewport, really, I'm going to go to the color, change it to kind of a yellow, and then now I'm going to duplicate this spline emitter here, and for the geometry, instead of spline R, I'm going to use spline L. So now I have 2 spline emitters, and they're both emitting to this particle group. But if I play right now, it'll be kind of neat.
It's going to take a minute for the GPU to initialize.
Oops.
And hey.
Oh, maybe I wasn't on frame 0. Oh, what did I do?
I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't like that they're baked, maybe?
No, it shouldn't be a problem.
I don't think these need to be in the...
They don't.
Let me see. Let me just see why that's interesting. Along points. Weird. Because I did this before. That's okay.
Weird.
Is there a way to clean up a comp, like to have it automatically remove from a comp anything that's not being used? Basically, like dependencies.
There are scripts for that. I can't think of any native.
Cool.
Project manager, maybe. There is a native way to do that.
I've done it before. I just can't remember.
Yeah, it's I don't have After Effects open in front of me. It's in the project, like when you go to consolidate a project or somewhere in there.
Project settings. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about a comp, not a whole project.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, Virtually Visual says, so excited for TRON ARES. This is so cool, guys. Thank you. And those, speaking of Virtually Visual, who's over on the Maxon channel, and the Photoshop Guru and a few other folks, if you're wondering where all this other chatter is coming from, that you're seeing show up on the screen and us talking about, but you're not seeing it in your chat pod, that's because we are streaming to more than one place. We are streaming to Maxon VFX YouTube channel, Maxon Training Team, Action Movie Dad and Kids, and the Red Giant YouTube channel, and also youtube.com/@VFX and Chill. That is where the main amount of our chat tends to be from. Even though we have had some nice chat on some of the other ones this particular week, the main bulk of our chat is happening right here at youtube.com/@VFX and Chill, which is our main YouTube channel for all of our VFX and Chill stuff. But speaking of folks on other channels, Kokit says, greetings from Germany, good evening. And John Kent says, Mexico en la casa. So hello.
Mexico in your house?
The Mexico is in the house.
In my house?
They said La Casa. Actually, they said the Casa, which is mixing English and Spanish in a way I did not expect. So much so that I read it wrong.
Hey, look at this, guys.
But yeah. So hello to you two in your various places.
What? Oh my God.
I don't want to stay where you're from, since that tends to be pretty popular around these parts. Yeah. Oh, hey, look at that, Seth.
Yeah. So I did this during prep and thought it sucked, and then I'm watching it now. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's rough around the edges, and it somehow looks more like the Red Giant at the end.
Those colors just take me back right now. It takes me back.
Yeah, it does. But all these little frames, these are fun. Some of them are bad. Some of them are good. But yeah, Hashi, your next break, I can go through and kind of talk through how to make stuff all melty and glitchy like that. So I like these kind of glitches.
Speaking of breaks, we haven't really had much of one.
Yeah, I forgot to load the bumpers. We can take one real quick. I don't know what it'll play, but we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, Hashi's cutting a car in half.
Okay. It clearly, if I zoom out, has something to do with the scale. I must have scaled the original object before doing any of this.
There we go.
So it thinks the spline is way out here because these cars...
like Buffalo. It thinks the spline is all the way out here.
Oh, scale.
That's the problem.
0.0. Why? Why did this happen?
Or Z?
This couldn't have been my fault.
This could have been my fault.
Okay, fine. Let's grab these stupid cars. Let's,
almost the name.
I don't know. Should I
just cars?
These stupid cars. Well, how big is this now? Let me see, because a figure is that tall.
Oh, so you scaled it down using the wrong kind of scale to make it the right size. Well, scale it back down then, and just crap. What's the command to make it down to the correct size?
A reset scale or something like that.
Yeah, there's a command. There's a command that'll make it be the correct scale number. I forget what it is.
Is it just reset scale?
Try it.
Oh, nope. Wait, no, that puts it back at 1. Is it freezing the transform at this?
No. It's not that.
I hate it all. I could.
There's a max on quick tip about it. Quick tip 341.
Oh, let's stop. Let's everyone switch over there now.
No, give me a second. I'll find what it is. You go into model mode, something. Hang on a second.
Let's see, what if I just...
Here, I'm going to mute myself so I can listen to this video.
Can I just group these and then change this nulls scale to 0.01? Oops, I guess across the board. 0.01. Like that. And then delete without children. No, it redid it again. Horrible.
And reset scale.
It should be in the mesh menu with the object selected and hit reset scale. Yeah, that should do it. That's supposed to do it.
Why didn't it then? Mesh?
You have to click the gear icon though, Hashi. Go to mesh. No, go to mesh. You have to click the gear icon. Go to the mesh menu.
Okay. And I don't want to reset?
Compensate points you want on.
Need to check that.
Okay.
Because as soon as we...
There we go. Look at that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonas.
We're learning. Thank you, Jonas. Look, we're learning. We're learning. Compensate points. Okay.
Seriously, the tips on the Max on your YouTube channel are great for so many things.
Ridiculous. Boom. Okay, finally. Good gravy. Okay. So let's go back here. Let's add the simulation tags back onto these. Our spline emitter, let's change the emission to a shot of maybe, let's try 5,000 particles at the beginning. Now, if I just do this and press, let's see. Oh, we need both of them, right? We need L1 and spline L. All right, if I press play, you're going to see these sparks shoot off from the edge there, but they just go off in every which direction, which is a little bit annoying with a lot of speed. So I'm going to go to these two emitters. I'm going to go to emission. I'm going to change their properties. Let's change the velocity down to like, I don't know, 10 centimeters there. And then I'm going to add a couple of things to this particle group. I'm going to go to simulate, and I'm going to add the force of gravity. Now, there's already gravity in the scene, but this particle group wants to know, are they affected by gravity or not? I'm also going to add from over here, modifiers. I would like them to collide with the ground and the car. And then I also would like them to, let's see, I guess just gravity and bounce will be all right for now. Let's try this. So now, if I press play, watch these particles. Okay, they shot off a little bit too fast. The velocity is unnecessary. Let's change this down to, let's see, direction radial. Let's change the direction to axis and the speed to 0. I just want to see if it just drops particles there. Is it the, oh my, there's the attractor there. That's why. Let me go to my particle group and go to the collide tag right here, and I'm going to exclude down here the attractor. Wait.
In the collide tag?
Is it up here? Wait, I can do this. I can figure it out. It's okay, it's not the gravity tag.
It should be in either of those. It should be in there.
Coordinates override mode.
I forget where to say ignore things. Oh, just make a new particle group and put that in that. See if that does it.
All right, groups, particle group, and then put these in here.
No,
these
undo. No, undo. Stop.
I have a new.
Michael was like swatting Hashi away.
Yeah, put the attractor in the new particle group, so it says only affect particles in this particle group. That might, so that won't affect the particles anymore. Hopefully, it still affects the vehicle.
Looks like it does. Okay. Now we've got that there. So this first particle group, the particles are dropping and they're bouncing like crazy. So let's go to the collide tag and say, don't bounce this much, bounce way less. There we go. Okay, so now they're sort of interacting with the ground a little bit. Still way too much bounce. This world scale is crazy. Let me look at the emitters and see if there's any radius being added to the thickness. No, there's not. Okay. So output properties. I'm going to do constant for just a second on the emission mode. Let's see why this is happening. Or be able to see my particles better anyway. Let's do a constant. Let's do 1,600 particles per frame. Okay, so here's what's happening with these particles. They're going a little bit wild like that. Their gravity is hardly doing anything.
The turbulence might be affecting them as well, don't forget. Move that turbulence into the particle.
Oh, it's totally just the turbulence. Man, I'm sorry. I thought I was going to show this really cool thing.
It is a really cool thing. You just need wind to make them go back, like they're going behind the car.
Man, all right. So I turned off the turbulence. Spider-Man turned. All right, let's scoot this wind back here. Let's turn the wind up to maybe, let's see, how fast does it need to be going? There we go. Change the wind to about 1,000. Because technically, they're like bound, they're being emitted by the car to, oh, the car is blowing away because it's no longer locked. Okay, uncheck that. Let's go. I'm going to fix this. I'm just going to say.
You can easily tell the car to ignore the wind.
Yeah, I'm going to
easily tell the car to ignore the wind.
Cache object.
Oh, that's one way to do it. I was just going to say, you could just you can easily drag the wind into the forces tab to tell it to exclude it. But this is also a good way. If we have the car, and this is a good tip, if the car motion is exactly what you want, cache it.
Yeah, I'll throw the wind in there.
No matter what you do to the scene.
All right. So now the car will do what it's doing, and the wind is just affecting the particles. So let's turn it to, I don't know, 1,000. Okay, now I can see how fast they move back. There we go. So all of my silly guessing on the bounces was wrong because that turbulence was throwing me way off. Okay, so now we've got some bounce. Goodness gracious. Interesting. Okay, they really so boring now.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this plane needs more segments so they bounce off of it. Interesting. Seth, you're welcome to take over to do a breakdown of anything if you like. I feel like I'm just crashing loose.
I am just messing around with. Hang on a second. So it's fun to add little glitchy, melty displacement to stuff. Why don't I kind of show you real quick what's going on here? So I've got this this VFX logo here, and I'm going to create a new solid that I'm going to call. This is the day for him. Fractal 1. And it's a gray layer. I want it to be a gray layer. And in case you weren't paying attention earlier, a really nice way to do that is, when you go into the solid color settings, click the little radio checkbox next to this B, and set it to 50, and that'll make sure that your brightness, and then hue at 0, saturation at 0, and that's guaranteed to be gray. Solid. Wow. Then we're going to add...
Hey, no one said it that time.
I know. but I said some pretty solid advice. Solid. So...
There he is.
I'm going to add a fractal noise effect. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to screen mode. Oh, sound source. No, not right now. And so... Now it is only giving like gray and white. It's not giving any black. Because
it's giving gray and white.
It's giving gray and white. I am going to, because then when I apply here, so I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to go to add displacement map to the VFX text layer. I'm going to set the displacement map layer to be fractal 1 and say effects and masks. I'm going to set horizontal displacement to 0 and vertical. If I turn that down, you'll see it's all melting downward, not upward, because it's only gray and white layers, gray and white colors. If it were not doing that, if it were instead gray and black, or white and black and gray, then it would be displacing up and down at the same time. And I want it to just melt downward. So that's why I set the background to be gray. And then I set the fractal noise to just screen on it. So it's gray with fractal pops of white, so then I can have it be melting like this. Now,
I like the phrase fractal pops of white.
Fractal pops of white. Here's one thing too, is I don't want it all melting. I just want part of it melting.
No. Yes.
So on this fractal layer, I'm going to have it selected, but I'm turning it off. And I'm just going to do a box mask like this and feather it. Now I can turn it on. You'll see that's what it's going to look like. And now if I turn this displacement, now it's only melting from the bottom. And I can move this mask up to wherever I really like it to be and change the feathering. But this is feeling pretty good to me. I can't go too far with it. Now, this is where it gets really fun. If I go into my fractal noise, I can turn up the contrast and change things, but that's not what I actually meant to do. A couple things. First thing I want to mess with is the transform. If I scale it down, you'll see the noise gets even smaller. But look, if I turn it all the way down to 1, look at this really awesome, you get this really cool fine grain noise that's happening, and it's really cool looking. This is actually a nice way, if I turn this mask off, this is a really nice way to be able to so if I duplicate it and just have a layer, it's a nice way to give some graphic design, some extra, speckle and grain like that is around the edges. It doesn't really come off on the stream very well, does it?
No, it looks great. No,
speckle and grain.
It looks good to me.
Show that we need.
Speckle and grain. So, but I'm actually going to I'm going to uncheck uniform scaling, and I'm going to turn the width all the way down, maybe even to 1, and then the height up. And now I start to get this really cool glitchy looking effect. And you know what? If I turn the width back up to maybe 9 and I set the noise type to block, I can keep turning the width, up. But now it's giving me this great kind of square boxy little fine grain stuff, glitchiness happening. I turn the scale height down. You can get all kinds of different looks here. And another fun thing that I like to do is on the title, I apply a turbulent displace, and I put it before the displacement map. And I can say, let's do vertical displacement. Let's turn the size. I can turn the size way down and do some extra, or turn the size way up like that, to 128, and turn the amount down a bit. Now I'm just creating some extra funk going on here. And then I can also, I'm going to duplicate my fractal layer, label it fractal 2, duplicate this displacement map layer, set it to be fractal 2, and then go in here and start messing around with I can mess with the mask and have it be pulling different little bits of the text. Let's see.
And all of this, of course, is animatable, so you can hold keyframe, animate the glitchy crap out of this stuff. It's great.
Absolutely, you
Love
can.
this technique.
And on the second fractal layer, I'm going to move the evolution down a bit. All right, if I wanted to, I could just change the random seed. But that makes sure that it's different noise that's happening. And then I'll change up the transform settings that I had before. Like maybe I'll give a higher width to maybe a lower height. So now there's like this weird vertical, like cross glitching stuff going on. Or, so like this is a nice way to be able to, and here's some fun stuff on top of all of it. If I want, so I want that to keep melting like even more. I wonder if I just double up these displacement maps. So now it's like, I just duplicating them. So now they're just dragging down, and maybe I even mess with the mask a bit.
No one messes with the mask.
And what if
Except Cameron Diaz?
What if I do layer new? Cameron Diaz, she does mess with the mask. I'll tell you that much. Let's add an adjustment layer. What was I going to do here? There were a couple things I'm going to do. One is, what happens if I apply chromatic displacement and I say, I literally don't know where I'm going to go with this. I set it to one of my fractal layers and I say effects and masks. Oh, I need a new solid. That's black. That's my background. And now I can do Y displacement, but I'll turn the, maybe this isn't what I wanted. No, actually,
Chromatic displacement.
Actually, look at this extra stuff it added. It gave me.
Yeah.
This is without. This is with.
That's really cool.
So good. That's really cool.
Now,
here's
it's
why.
actually
Here's why Seth's
incredibly
using two different
cool.
displacement things.
Look at the details here.
displacement.
Sorry. Look at
It's
the
so good.
freaking details. It's awesome. All right. Sorry. Keep explaining things.
I was just saying, chromatic displacement pushes things very differently from the native After Effects displacement. After Effects displacement, if you crank up vertical and horizontal, you get this like diagonal effect going on using the same grayscale value, whereas you don't get that with chromatic displacement because they just displace things differently based on the pixel values. One is pushing them directly linearly, the other one is pushing them based on the grayscale transitions between things. Which is why using both of them together doesn't just give you an amplified effect; it gives you just a very different kind of effect. So one of them is good for one of them is good for the other. They're both useful for different things, or in this case, they're both useful for the same thing, which is making something freaking awesome.
Heck yeah!
Yep.
Magic GG says you can add turbulent displacement for the holy trio. Indeed.
I am.
And Michael Palak is asking, when do we add CC ball action?
CC ball action.
At some point. I feel like
I tried to work it in so hard.
I am just trying to add some of this extra colorful jazz that I did earlier on it, and I think maybe I just kept adding displacement.
Don't look at it or anything. Just try to guess what you did.
Yeah. No. I just
You gotta do the Hashi method. You look at it once, you get the vibe, and you try to recreate the vibe in your head, and that way your true artistry helps you refine what you think looks good. Stop comparing yourself to others.
Incredible. It's just not at all applicable to what we're doing. Oh yeah, here we go. Now it's.
But it is good life advice.
So I'm getting some weird glitchiness on this. I might actually just apply its own fractal noise to it.
What? Look at that. Converted it to beautiful. Look at that.
Oh, should I do
smoke coming off of it?
Yeah, what if I do dynamic and invert?
And then invert that. Oh yeah.
Oh no, this just looks like a tie-dyed shirt from like Hot Topic or Buckle. Actually, what if I go to block and Set the sub settings to 0. Scale it way down.
CGI Lord is pointing out that you can do some of these distortion effects in 3D as well. You can in Cinema 4D using displacement modifiers, or displacement deformers, or even plane deformers driven by fields. You can do some crazy glitchy things.
Anyway,
Very true.
This is the fun stuff. So, what's going on with you, Hash?
Well, I'm having some fun over here. What I've done is I'm going to turn off Redshift for a second.
Spider-Man.
And here's what we got. You know what? I need to add a camera to this. Let's add a camera right here and switch to that view. And let's see what happens. So right now, our car falls apart, and the particles kind of do this little cool bounce. Hello to Brazil.
Hello, designer dos millonarios.
Videos. So I have this little particle sim. Now, it doesn't look like much, but if I add a Redshift render tag to my particle group and create another incandescent Redshift material, it's just that color. I'm going to now, let's make this a little bit bigger on screen. Let's start our renderer and then go forward to a frame where there are some sparks. Now check this out. The Redshift render tag has a particles option, similar to how the splines had a curve option. So right here, Redshift render tag is your friend to make all your dreams come true. And now I have this beautiful shower of sparks. And what would really bring it to life is if I go over here to my Redshift render settings right there and say advanced Redshift, and then go to motion blur and say, let's just enable it a little bit. Let's say, in fact, I want to use movie mode so I can use a shutter angle. Let's see what this would look like at like 180 degrees. And I'll turn up the transformation steps to 3. I don't remember if that's happening in the window, come to think of it. Does it happen in my window?
Did it happen to my window?
Yeah, here we are. Oh, I'm in. Yeah, the previewing is in progressive mode. But like here, check this out. If I went to one of these frames, you can see these moving sparks now that they have motion blur on them are so fun. I could optimize this render. I just have the default settings on here. Let me just quickly go to the sampling and turn it up because we're streaming on the web right now anyway.
On the World Wide Web.
Worldwide. And look at that. You can see like a little bit of the car is illuminated by the sparks. Here, that's faster. That's better. Look at that.
Designer dos Millonarios says, I'm learning how to use Cinema 4D. It's been a very difficult journey for me. My dream is to work with car renders. I don't speak English, but I'm here following along. Thanks for all the teachings. Hey, welcome. One of my friends does a lot of car work using Cinema 4D, a couple of them actually. Gurnge has some good Redshift tips on his YouTube channel and has done quite a bit of car work for the Detroit car shows. And so, yeah, if you're looking for some good Redshift tips, check out Gurnge's channel. Gernge. Has done quite a bit of car work using Cinema 4D. Don't forget, Cineversity has some very good learning resources that come included with your Maxon 1 or Cinema 4D subscription. So hop onto Cineversity. If you don't want to remember how to spell Cineversity, just go to the Learn tab on Maxon.net and you get to it there. There's a whole course for getting started in Cinema 4D on there, as well as some very in-depth training that can take you, so you can go all the way from beginner to intermediate to advanced user just on Cineversity tutorials. And of course, doing work in it for yourself. Never just watch a tutorial and think you've got it. You should always take what you've learned in a tutorial and apply it to a project yourself.
Yeah.
What Michael said.
And
All right.
Igor Batin from Batin Studio says, "Good to see another Brazilian here watching the stream." Wow, we got multiple Brazilians here. I will say, I know that there has been some work going on to localize some of Maxon tools, and I believe there is some Portuguese work going on, so that may help some of y'all. I'm not sure which Maxon tools we're getting that, but I know there. I saw someone doing Portuguese stuff, so look for that in the future.
Nice. All right. So you eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I have jumped over to After Effects, where I've got some pre-baked info, which is kind of fun. So let me open this all up. I have a handful of sequences over here that are rendered out, and this was of a different thing, but basically what I've got here is I've got a background layer. Actually, I should make it out of these. Sorry, let's make it out of this. We'll call this Super Comp. Spoiler alert. I've added in, here is a render of the car with some alpha right there. And I also have several other things that I rendered out. I rendered out an emission layer, which is like basically just the spark renders and the headlights there. A puzzle mat, which helps just in case I want to dial in any specific part of it. These all render at the same time through Redshift, which is cool. We have a depth mat, which I forgot to set the range on. But, and then this really cruddy looking background. But either way, we can throw them all into a comp and start trying to make them work together. One of the really cool things about using Cinema or After Effects is that they work really well together. So for example, this right here, I can go over and I saved a copy of this file, and you can say save to Cineware. And when you do that from Cinema 4D, it creates this kind of little project right here. I'll open up. Excellent. It's actually opening the project in the background. But yeah, you can see it right there. Look, if I drag this in, the first thing you'll see is my Cinema 4D copy of this all, which is kind of cool. And it looks like my Cinema project was in 30 frames per second, and I think my default in After Effects is 24. So there's going to be some poor timing here for just a moment. But you can see this little preview of the Cinema 4D viewport in a second here, but I actually don't even need it. Let's see. Is it opening up? Where is it? Whatever. I actually only want it so I can jump into this plugin right here and then say extract scene data. And then what that will do is it will take all of the keyframes and a few positions from the original and create After Effects layers here, which is pretty cool. So really, I just needed you for that. So Cineware, I'm deleting you now. I'm going to delete the lights from the original because I actually don't really need them, not even as locators. I could keep them around.
You won't need them for real lens flares, Hashi? Yeah, I was about to say, you might want those lights back.
See, I'll put them back here and then I'll turn them off for a moment. But what I really wanted was this null, this 3D null that is for the road. Basically, you can see just retreating into the background, and a null for the police car on that side and on this side, which is really nice. Let's go.
Those are good to have. You can never have too many. Well, I mean, technically you can, but generally speaking, like if you accidentally put it on a cloner with like 1,000 clones that are all like bouncing with dynamics and crap, yeah, you can. But generally speaking, the more locator nulls you have, the better. And thank you, Marcus Aurelius. Says they love VFX and Chill. We love you too.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Despite your politics, Marcus Aurelius.
I should save this as what? Let's save this as show.
While you're doing that, Igor Bettine says, is Puzzlemat AOV equivalent to Cryptomat? I'm switching from Octane to Redshift right now. No. There's Cryptomat in Redshift as well as Octane. A Puzzlemat is like you specify up to 3 things you want a mat for, whereas Cryptomat does mat for everything in the scene. A Puzzlemat is you tell however many objects you want to feed into a specific mat. So you can have one mat for all of your trees in a scene, or like all of the secondary objects, for example, and then another mat for your main object, and then another mat for background, and you can have an unspecified number of things feeding into each mat, and you can have multiple puzzle mats per render. So you could have 3 or 4 puzzle mats, but each one gets fed certain things. So basically, a puzzle mat is a red, green, and a blue channel, and something is either fully in one channel or one of the other ones.
Yeah, just helpful.
It's very, very
like
handy.
This.
Yeah, it's faster to render, faster to handle. Some compositing programs have a little bit of trouble with Cryptomat speed-wise, and puzzle mats are a lot faster. Robert Anderson says, VFX and Chill is my favorite part of Friday. Mine too, that's why I'm always on time.
Oh, thanks. I've just created a new little pre-comp here.
Why be on time when you can show up heroically? Sorry. Just want to give Michael that, boost. Anyway, go ahead.
I've risen from the floods.
All right. I'm adding an inverted mat there to do this. There are better ways to do this, but this is all I can think of at the moment. Let's turn that to screen mode and then feather this out even more. I don't know, something like this maybe. Let's choke this one back a little bit.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. There we go. So we got this light blade. Pretty cool. Oh man,
why not?
I kind of want to add one more solid. Let's do a fractal noise on it, baby. Boom. I get to use the rarely used spline mode, maybe. Let's do spline strings. Yeah.
Yes.
So dumb. I hate these so much, but they're great for this particular purpose. Let's see. Turn them up to around here.
Turn them up to around here.
Oh yeah, someone else was asking. Someone wanted a time expression earlier, right? So let's do time times -500 for x and just 0 for y on the offset. Let's see. So horrible. All right, okay. Time times I don't know. Let's try 90. The evolution. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So let's turn this one, let's say blending mode, not overlay, on here. First of all, the effect's down here, whoops. That's why, What do I
make it to blending modes?
I want it to do. I don't even know. Fine. All right, this is so stupid. So stupid. Right. So turn it up a little bit. I just want that. I just want a little bit of something in there. All right? Because now if I go over to this version right here, I can go to, let's see, when does the road pass? It passes right here. It's sort of the center of this comp. Let me find a keyframe where I like it more. Let's say layer. This is just for my own benefit right here. I'm making a quick 3D layer. It will be placed automatically at the anchor point of the scene in the After Effects scene instead of the Cinema 4D scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to push this back in Z. So let's see. Oh, why is that not doing anything? Oh, sorry, I forgot it's an illusion. The car isn't moving. It's all an illusion. Okay, let's see. So let's put this here. Let's rotate this -90 degrees. And wait, is it at 0? 0? Great. Let's call this the floor. And now, because this is the floor, let's move it forward. So like here, let's move it under the car. that feels more centered to me for where that cop car actually is visually.
It's important to be centered.
Now I'm going to highlight this and my other 3D layers here. Oh, I guess and these, huh? I'll grab all my layers. And I'm going to run our fun script right here called, super comp as well. But right now I just want to run normalized track script. And when I do that, it's going to think for a second. Everything's going to go Kiwampus for a moment. And then when everything's back, now this floor is centered in the comp instead of in the Cinema 4D world. So that means that if I bring in that light blade, I do my project window. Oh, I dragged it down there somehow. All right, let's go to my light blade. What are we at? We're right at time, huh? Fine. Let's go to...
We're getting there.
Oh, yeah, we are.
So the gist of what I'm doing is I wanted to add this in 3D space. Once it's in 3D space...
Really quick, if you want to have that normalized track script that Hashi just used, which is extremely helpful after you get a camera track to make things make sense, the free normalized track script is linked in the chat.
Yeah.
And another thing, Mythic Masters is asking, why are you guys using After Effects instead of Nuke? Well, After Effects is used
Leave
on
us alone.
quite a number of After Effects is used in quite a number of feature films. We're using it because we are not aiming at studios with high-end pipelines. Our show is aimed at people who are doing this more for fun. That's what it's called, VFX and Chill, not VFX and Crunch. And a lot more folks have access to After Effects. Plus, this VFX and Chill show is spun off of the Red Giant channel, which makes plugins for After Effects to make your compositing life much easier. And so we tend to use After Effects for lots of our things. Plus, like Hashi and Seth and I have all used After Effects in feature film productions. And so that's what we're used to.
So the obvious thing, so this looks pretty incredible, as you can see. But I actually wanted to composite this light blade using After Effects instead of trying to mess with Redshift a whole bunch and then not having control. Though this looks a little bit weird. You could almost use a depth pass to split it off, but instead I'm going to use my puzzle mat, which has this nice blue channel and some green channel right here. So I'm going to actually do this. It's going to be a little bit silly, but let's pre-compose and move this over to here to a new comp. And in this comp, I'm going to actually take the true render right here, and I'm going to take this puzzle mat and say set mat to the blue channel. So I just have that. And then I'm going to duplicate this and say set this one to the green channel. And then I'm just going to turn my track mat on for this footage layer. And it's going to look like that. Other ways to do this, but this will work fine for now.
Do you want to turn off the visibility of those puzzle mats real quick?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. I guess I should have done it this way. I should have done set mat with the blue channel from there we go.
Indeed.
So let's do that. Oops, to delete both of them.
I mean, there's a number of ways to do it.
There are several ways to do it. Oh, I'm getting down on myself right now. Okay, turn on that. Turn on this. You get it. Now you have sort of half of the police car. We'll call this the car front, meaning on the kind of like screen left side of this blade. There you go. Now you've got this blade that it's the car. Oh, my stupid mask isn't far over enough. There we go. All right. So now if you isolate these layers, you could do something pretty cool by like changing, taking this 3D layer right here, and I'm going to say pre-compose, move all the attributes over like that.
Hey, real quick. Real quick.
Go for it.
Random expression. How do I get it to give me a random between 0 and 100?
Random parenthesis 0, 100 end parenthesis.
It wasn't giving me that, but all right. Thank you.
Weird. And that'll be per frame, so it's going to be wild. I'm grabbing let's see, the car front, the light blade, the police car, and the background, and I'm going to send them all to super comp like this. Whoops. Got all my and that'll throw all of these layers into this one super comp layer up at the top. You can see I can even solo that if I want. And now I can do some fun things like tell the far background, I can add some color correction to kind of turn it down a little bit, just to make it a little bit darker like this, and then maybe add some, I feel like this screen zoom is too small for me, but let's add some optical glow also. And you'll notice in Super Comp, when I add optical glow to the bottom layer, the glow is wrapping around objects in the foreground, which is pretty cool.
Love it.
And optical glow, obviously, I can go into and mess with the settings specifically to say, affect the, actually, I should always do this first. Turn this to like amount 2. And then you'll see there's just a little bit, if I turn it on and off, glows the background a little bit. I can also turn this to highlights only. So you can kind of see in the preview window what is getting glowed. And it's mostly just the light sources is what I want. So I'll turn this up too much for a second so you can see a bit of that. Now I'm going to go to my police car layers, and I'm going to go to the presets. I'm just going to do a, let's see, an atmosphere, just integrate.
For those who've never seen SuperComp before, SuperComp is basically doing node-based compositing in After Effects without you having to mess with nodes. You just put whatever effects you want, and it does all the nodey goodness in the background without you having to worry a dang little bit about it.
It sure does. Let's see. I'm going to switch the light blade to an additive layer here, and I'm going to add some heat blur to it.
Yes, that will blur the layer behind it. It's going to make it look. Oh, it looks so good, Hashi.
And now, oh wait, and within heat blur, I can also say displace it just a little bit too, and soften the displacement a little bit. Getting a little bit of a weird edge there, but that's okay. Oh, and it's probably because my project is in. Whoops. I keep trying to grab that. I'm gonna switch this to. There we go. So now we'll get some more subtle stuff with these rays.
Boom.
Okay, so that's cool. So it's kind of blurring and distorting that a little bit. This blade is a little bit too visible in the center. Let's turn this down and let's choke these in a bit more.
Harold is asking, can you get a node view of SuperComp? No. Does it all in the background.
I don't know what the look of this light thing should be.
Stu Mashwitz says, man, I love heat blur. Hey, Stu. Yeah, I do. Anything in SuperComp, like where your normal layers, you can blur the background. Like for if you've got a keyed out cloth using Primat to get that really good like transparency and blurring the background behind it. I've done a couple different tips on that before. It really makes something feel like it's set in the scene, and heat blur in this case, again, really makes that light feel like it's present in the scene instead of just having, like you slap something on and it doesn't feel like it's part of it unless light gets affected by it, like in the real world, and it's just, SuperComp does it so fast.
And now I'm gonna, okay, this looks good enough to me for the moment. So I'm gonna commit a huge sin here and just add an adjustment layer above SuperComp and add reflection. I'm just gonna move reflection right here because I just want a little bit more of a wet street look. So let's soften the reflection a little bit. Let's go down to the displacement map. Let's select the original footage and do a teeny bit of horizontal displacement. So it just kind of muddies up that a little bit. Turn the opacity of this down. Just want that. There we go. A little bit more reflectivity of the headlights. A little more reflectivity of the red beam there that I've added in. And then I feel like this is neat. This is getting closer to what I wanted to do. 10 minutes too late, but
That's all right.
getting there.
Meanwhile,
it's getting
I've just been doing this over here, making things automatically
That
get
looks
all weird.
Oh,
Oh, I love it.
This is a wiggling with an invert, posturized with tint, and a posturized time.
Never
here's-
wiggle without an invert.
This is what's actually happening behind the scenes, and this is with the posturized time, the invert and the tint and etc. But just this is where I got before. Anyway, fun stuff today, huh?
Absolutely.
Superman says it's looking cool. First time in the live session. Hey, thanks for joining in, Jukerlaw. Glad you're able to hang out with us.
Yeah, we're all glad. Wait, hang on. I kind of want to see what happens when I change this. No, I don't have time. Never mind.
See, you can switch to me for a second. I can show you my slightly more polished. Just add a little bit of a time ramp, so it just blasts through right at the beginning, and then sort of slows down because that's slow-mo shot. I didn't even get to mess with the headlights yet. Add some stuff. Anyway,
That's all right.
I have to do it later.
Guys,
Anyway.
what an incredible episode, incredible day. Thank you so much. Join us next week. We're going to do something pretty exciting. Can't tell you yet because it's too exciting.
No, can't tell.
No. But yeah, we'll catch you next
But
week.
we definitely know what it is.
We definitely know what it is. You wish you knew what it was out
we
there.
actually do have an idea this time, which is crazy.
Oh wait,
But,
we do. We do.
We'll generally fill you in on that.
I forgot. We do. We do know, and it is going to be very, very fun. It's gonna broaden your horizons. It's going to expand the scope in which you see modern cinema. Shut up, Seth. Goodbye. See you next week.